Hi my loves, welcome back. So today's video is again one of my most requested videos, and I am going to be doing an in-depth comparison between my Hermes Birkin 25, 30 and 35. So if you have been looking to purchase your Birkin and you're actually not sure what size to get, this is going to be the perfect first video for you. I will also be comparing the Sellier construction versus the Retourne construction as well. So as you guys know, if you have watched me before, my comparisons are very in-depth, but that's because I want it to be a reference video for you guys. So it is going to be a long one, but I'm going to put all the timestamps down below. So I'm going to be dividing this video into 6 parts. The first part, I'm going to be talking about the details of each bag. So I'll be talking about the leathers, the colors they come in, the different sizes the Birkin comes in, the weight. Yes, I'll be weighing each bag. Then secondly, I'm going to be discussing what is the difference between a Birkin Sellier and a Birkin Retourne. Third, I'm going to be showing you what fits in each of the 3 sizes. Fourth, of course, I'll be showing you mod shots. And as a bonus, hubby's actually going to be showing some mod shots for all my male viewers out there. I think that's really important. Fifth, a quick summary on the current pricing. And 6, my final thoughts going through the pros and cons of each sizes and which size is my favorite. So let's get right into this video. Okay, let's start off with the baby Birkin. So this is my Birkin 25. It is in Togo leather, palladium hardware, and this is in the color Gris Tourterelle, like my favorite neutral. I actually own 2 Birkin 25s. My other one is in Magnolia, also Togo leather. Next up is, you know this beauty. I featured this beauty so many times. My very first Birkin bag. This is the Birkin size 30. It is also in Togo leather, palladium hardware, and the color is this beautiful emerald green called Malachite. I actually own 2 Birkin 30s. The other Birkin 30 I own is actually in Epsom leather with gold hardware, and the color is Anemone. And then this is my big beauty. This is my most recent addition to my Birkin family, which I unboxed earlier this year. And this is the Birkin size 35 in the construction of the Sellier, so different to these 25 and 30, which is the Retourne. And this is actually a special limited edition Birkin. Totally get that it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it is mine. It is a very special bag, and it has this applique stitching, and it's sort of supposed to represent, you know, the hues of a sunset, because this bag actually came in the sunrise and sunset. So this one is in Epsom leather, and it's apricot, blue agate, magnolia, and rouge cassac. So those 3 are the ones that I'll be using for my comparison today. The Birkin actually does come in 5 sizes. The more common sizes that you see in store and are sold are the Birkin 25, the Birkin 30, the Birkin 35, and then a bigger one, the Birkin 40. Now, there is a new one that is so special. It's a limited edition. It's actually the Birkin size 20, and that one is so hard to get. It's called the Birkin Faubourg, and I'll put a picture up here. If you can ever get your hands on this, buy it, because it is so hard to get. And as you can see, it is adorable, and it is supposed to pay homage to the Paris, the Rue Faubourg store. And how cute is it with the 3 windows and the little orange awnings, and even the clochettes in the shape of, you know, a bag. Oh my goodness, I love that bag. It is in production now, but it's so hard to get. But I still wanted to mention it anyway. So the Birkin was actually born in 1984 and it was named after the famous British actress Jane Birkin. So I'm not going to go into detail about that, but if you are thinking, Mel, I've seen other Birkins, aren't there other sizes? There are other Birkins as well. The Birkin is actually like a modern reinterpretation of the very first Hermes bag, which is called the haute courroie or hack. And I just wanted to mention, people call it the Birkin hack or sometimes the hack, but that comes in various sizes as well. But I won't be going into that in this video. This video will be a comparison on just the Birkin. But there are variations of, you know, the Birkin out in the marketplace. Like I said, the hack, there's even the shoulder Birkin and all other limited edition Birkins as well. Okay, now let's talk about what leathers that are most commonly found in the Birkin. Now, it depends on the construction of the Birkin as well. As you know, with this Sellier construction, it's quite a new construction that was first seen, I believe, in 2010, but then it was reintroduced in 2020. So with this construction, which is definitely more formal, more structured, the leathers that you often see in this more structured one is obviously Epsom, number one. It also comes in Vieux Monsieur, which is very similar to Hermes box calf leather. Box calf leather is Hermes' oldest leather, so it's got this shiny appearance. So yes, it can come in box leather and also Vieux Madame. And in the Retourne style, the most popular leathers you'll find them in is Togo, in Clemence. In the 25 size, you'll also find it in Swift leather as well, also Epsom in both sizes. So those are the most common leathers that you'll find them in. Obviously, there are some other leathers that I haven't mentioned that you can get them in, but they're a bit more rare. So it comes in the Birkin 25 centimeters. That's because it measures 25 centimeters across, but I'm still going to measure mine because each of the Birkins are handmade. No two are the same. So you might find there's a slight variation. So yes, Birkin 25 centimeters across, Birkin 30 centimeters across, and then the Birkin 35, the length here is 35 centimeters across, and then there's an even bigger size, which is the Birkin 40. Okay, so let's actually measure my Birkin 25 and see if it really does measure 25 centimeters across. So I'm just looking at it now, and yes, it's pretty much 25 centimeters exactly. Now, the reason why I'm measuring this is for those of you that have seen my in-depth Kelly comparison between my 25 and 28, if you haven't seen that, I'll link that above. You would know that there were differences when I measured each of the sizes. If you're in the market for a Kelly, I highly recommend you go watch that video. So yes, 25 centimeters across, and then I'm going to measure my 30. And my 30 is 29.5. See, there's a very slight variation. And then let's measure the 35. So the 35 measures 35.2. So I thought that might just be interesting to measure it out as well. Now for the rest of the measurements, I'm just going to leave it in the description bar below in terms of the depth and in terms of the, height of it. But later on when I talk about the pros and cons, I will mention something that is very important, and that is the handles, because that does make a difference. But I find that what is most important, especially for reference, is in terms of the size, the length, the 25, 30, 35, and so forth. And then finally, let's weigh each bag, because that does make a difference. Depending on what material you pick for your bags, it does make a difference in terms of the weight. And this isn't as much of a problem when you're talking about, say, the 25 or maybe even the 30, but definitely as you get bigger, it does play a big difference. So let's weigh the bags now. So I'm going to show the true weight of each bag. So the bag is completely empty. I'll take my insert out, and for reference, I do use 7RP inserts. Stay tuned to part 3 because I have a very special offer to tell you about. But let's see how much this weighs. So the Birkin 25 in Togo leather weighs 660 grams. And then the Birkin 30, again in Togo leather, and we'll put the little clochette in there. This one weighs 950 grams. Now, before I move on to my Birkin 35, for example, Togo leather is definitely heavier than, say, Swift leather. But Clement's leather, if you had, for example, a Birkin 13 Clement's, it would be heavier than Togo. And that's why I said, in terms of the materials you choose, it does play a part. But I think in these two sizes, it's not too bad. As you can see, both of them definitely weigh under 1 kilo. Now let's check out this one. I'm very interested to see what this weighs because I've never weighed it before. So let me put this back on, and I've got to take my little charm off. So let me take this little charm off as well. And let's see what this weighs. So this bag weighs 1,320 grams. So yes, so 1.3 kilos. And again, if you were thinking of getting a Birkin 35, if this was in Togo leather, it would be a lot heavier. And then again, if it was in Clement's, it would be even heavier again. So I know weight for some people does matter. So I thought it would be interesting to weigh each of the bags as well. So to end off this segment, let's just do a direct side-by-side comparison. So let's do the 25 versus the 30 versus the 35. So as you can see, in terms of the depth, obviously as you go up each size, you can see that the depth is wider. I've already shown you the front view. You can see that the Birkin 25 is obviously the shortest in length, 30, 35, and likewise, you can definitely see the difference in height. I do want to mention, because this is in the Retourne shape, if I had a Birkin 35 in the Retourne, it would look slightly smaller than the Sellier construction. So if you see a Birkin 30 Sellier, you will see that it looks slightly bigger than the Retourne. So that is just a side-by-side comparison of the three sizes. Next up, let's talk about the two different constructions of the Birkin. As I said, my 35 is in the Sellier construction and my 30 is in the Retourne construction. Easiest way to tell the difference: Sellier, structured. Sellier, you can see the stitching on the outside of the bag. Retourne, relaxed. Retourne, reversed. When I say reversed, it means that you can see the piping. There's no stitching on the outside like the Sellier construction. And that's just the easiest way to remember what the different constructions look like. So with the Sellier construction, it's definitely more structured, it's more formal looking, it's more sort of, I guess, clean sort of aesthetic. Whereas with the Retourne, it's definitely much more casual, it's got a relaxed construction. And then if I turn the bag to the side, you can see that with the Sellier construction, this fold here is actually pre-folded. Whereas on the Retourne, it depends on how you want to wear the bag. So if I flip the bag around, with the Sellier, you can't really wing the bag out. See how on this one with the Retourne, you can wing the bag out, and I actually prefer wearing it like this. You can, obviously, I'll just do it quickly now, wear it all tucked in like this. This looks nice as well. But personally, because this style lends itself to a bit more of a casual nature, I like it winged out. And then also you will see, because this is Retourne, it's just a lot more relaxed, as you can see. But this one here, you can't actually wing the Sellier out. I mean, you can try, but no, you actually can't. It looks silly. Like I'm trying to wing it out. Let me just try. And no, you can't really wing it out. So that is something to consider. If you do like that sort of winged out effect, you would probably prefer the Retourne. But with the Sellier construction, because it is rigid, because it is so structured, when you buy the bag, it is going to retain its shape. I'll do a quick 360 of the bags. So that's the front. That's the side. So on the side, you can see for the Sellier construction, it's glazed edges, whereas in with the Retourne style, it's got the piping as well. And then with the corners, you can see with the Retourne, it's definitely more rounded, whereas in with the Sellier construction, it's more clean, it's more crisp as well. And that is the back, side again, and then all Birkins, you know, they both have 4 feet. Now, in terms of the Sellier construction, because the Birkin is like an open tote, even though the Sellier is more rigid, it's not that bad to get in and out of because it is an open tote. I mean, I never wear my Birkins like this, but you can actually do the whole bag up. And this is definitely where you'll see that this is a lot more stiffer, like this. Like, so you can do it up like this, like that. But guys, that would be the biggest pain to get in and out of. Even if I did this Birkin up like that, it would be the same. So most people tend to wear it with the flap sort of tucked in because, yeah, just for accessibility, and it's just much easier to access. But of course, that is what the Birkin looks like when it's all closed up. And so that is the main difference between the Sellier and the Retourne. Now, as I mentioned before, if I pretend this is a Birkin 35 in the Retourne, it would be 35 centimeters across as well. It just that it would look slightly smaller. I actually would absolutely love to add, it's on my wish list, a Birkin, either a Birkin 25 or even the Birkin 30 in a Sellier construction as well. Another thing to keep in mind is with the Retourne shape, depending on which leather that you pick, and this is especially more so in the 30, the 35 and the 40 size, because it is more relaxed, it will slouch over time. So this bag here has definitely slouched. I can tell this is my little sangles test. Can you see my sangles are kind of like quite floppy? But this bag is 5.5 years old, and I think it's maintained its structure really well. And the reason why it's maintained its structure is because, you know, I use inserts and everything, but I'll go into that a bit later. So just bear in mind that this will slouch over time. Whereas in with the Sellier, it will remain structured. Of course, over time, for example, an Epsom bag, it will soften, just say like in 10 years time, it will soften a bit, but essentially it keeps the shape. So if you like bags to keep their shape, you'll probably like the Sellier better. So in terms of construction, I guess you need to ask yourself, which look do you prefer? Do you prefer it more structured, more clean, more crisp? This is definitely more formal, probably a little bit more ladylike, I would say. Or do you prefer the more sort of cash vibe, the more sort of chilled, laid back vibe? Then you would prefer the Retourne. But honestly, I think there is room for both constructions in your collection. What fits into each of the sizes? Of course, I have to mention which organizers and inserts I use. And for those of you that have been following me for ages, it comes at no surprise because I've been using these inserts for almost 5 years, and I'm proud to say that, yeah, I have worked with 7RP, 7 Rue Parody, for 5 years. So yes, these inserts are from 7RP. I've actually visited their atelier in the south of France. I will link that video above. But these inserts are so luxurious. They're the only ones that I would use for my bag. And as I mentioned before, especially in the bigger sizes, the 30, the 35, and especially in leathers like Clemence and even Togo, it's important for me anyway, to preserve the structure of the bag. After a while, especially in the heavier leathers, you will find that the Birkin over time will just slouch over time, and it can become very, very slouchy. Personally, I don't like that look. I know some people do, but I don't like it when it's too mushy. A little bit of slouch is good with me, but not too slouchy. So it's important to me to preserve the structure of my bag. And not only that, but Hermes do not spar the inside of your bag. So if you are spending so much money on these coveted bags, it's important to always protect the inside of your bag. And that's why the inside of my bags are in perfect condition because I always use an insert. So that's what it looks like. Another reason why these inserts are the best is because 7RP make them specifically for each size. So remember how I was talking about the construction between a Sellier and a Retourne? If, for example, if this was in a 30 Sellier, even the inserts would reflect the shape of the Sellier because the Sellier does fit a little bit less than the Retourne if it's the same size. So 7RP takes that all into consideration. Like, it is just the perfect fit without being too snug or too loose. And even though, yes, absolutely, these inserts are a little bit pricey, I would not use anything else for my Hermes babies, my Birkins, my Kellys, my Pickerton, my Evelyn. I just love them. The material also sets it apart because it is Alcantara. It is so plush. It is so luxurious. Even on the inside, you can see all this padding. And the reason why it is so expensive is because it takes the craftsman like 2+ hours to make one insert. So they only can make 3 inserts a day. So I think it's important to mention that as well, because sometimes, you know, when you do compare, you think, oh my gosh, why are these so expensive? They're so expensive because they are so precise and so detailed when they're making each of these inserts. And as I've mentioned before, Marianne is like an Hermes collector of 30+ years, an authenticator. So I just love the fact that she saw that gap in the marketplace and wanted to create these luxurious inserts made of Alcantara, which is used to line luxury sports cars, yachts, and all of that. So it does not color transfer. I've had no color transfer issues. Also, I've had no problem with, if you don't use a correct size insert, it also can stretch the leather. None of my bags have stretched out because it is perfectly made for each bag. So if you were after any of these inserts, I have the highest and exclusive code available, and that is just MIM40 for 40 euros off one insert, or MIM85 for 85 euros off 2 inserts. And all these inserts are actually handmade to order. And I'm really excited to announce, so many of you guys have asked me about my Anemone because this is not always offered. I have got an exclusive offer for you. They have only a very limited amount of material, enough to make 20 pieces of this gorgeous Anemone. You can also use my discount to get this Anemone. But once the 20 pieces are gone, that's it. I'm not sure when they're going to bring it back. The last time they brought back Anemone was, I think, over a year plus ago. So if you love this color, do use my code. It's the only one that will work on the Anemone color. So for this one, I've picked Craie for my gris tourterelle. Sometimes I love to go tonal. Sometimes I love to go contrast. So this is Anemone and this is the orange. It just depends, but I think you can go either or. So let's get into what fits inside each of the bags. Okay, so what fits in the Birkin 25? Now, I always use an insert, as you guys know, just letting you know that my insert, because it's an old one, the pocket organization, it's ever so slightly an updated one, but it has all pockets and everything. And you will see that you can fit a lot. Okay, so I've got my mini pochette, which I use to house makeup and little tidbits like Panadol and stuff like that. My Chanel card holder, which I use as a mini wallet. Got my iPhone 12 Pro, got my car keys, just put them in there, car keys, house keys, hand sanitizer, I'll put there, mask, I'll just put in there, and I've also got some tissues, and what else? I have got my AirPods, you can slot that in there, and you can still see there's space, so I can even put my mints in there. This is my lipstick pen. That can go here as well. So all that fits, as you can see, more than what you need. Daily essentials and everything. You can even rest sunglasses up the top. So if I put this into the bag, you will see it fits perfectly. So if you put sunglasses in there, you can see that it doesn't affect the shape or anything because I like to wear my Birkins winged out. like this. Now I did want to show you, if you wanted, not that I do this, this is an iPad 11-inch. You can slot that back here, as you can see, and it does sort of fit. It sticks out a little bit, but I wouldn't recommend it. But I did want to show you, just say you wanted briefly to do that. It does actually fit, which I was surprised. And yeah, but normally I would just carry it like that with my sunglasses on top and I'm ready to go. Okay, so I've transferred everything which I mentioned before, which fits into the Birkin 25. Oh, by the way, guys, I forgot to mention, in the Birkin 25, if you wanted, it absolutely does fit a full-size wallet as well. But anyway, that's in the Birkin 30, and you can, as you can see, obviously the Birkin 30 is going to fit a lot more. Like, I've got heaps of space and I've got everything that I need. So just say I wanted to add a little diary, organizer, you can fit that in there. I can still even add a little compact, and that's a thick compact, by the way. I've got some perfume that I can add in here, some Hermes perfume. And likewise, just say you wanted to fit a full-sized wallet, you absolutely can as well. Like if you didn't want to put that in there, yeah, well, there's plenty of space. Actually, you could even still fit, yeah. Okay, wow, you can really fit a lot in the Birkin 30, that's my point. So if I open the bag up and then I put this in here, you can see that not a problem at all. Now, I just want to show you that if I take the wallet out, if you wanted, not that I ever carry water, but you can, I've just got a medium-sized water, 300 mils, and that fits in there as well. I'll just stand that up. And just to show you, that's what it looks like. So if you're someone that carries a water bottle, that's not a problem. I've still got space. I can fit my sunglasses in there as well. Look at that. That's really, really packed. And if you're worried about it being an open top, what I also like to do is, this is my Hermes scarf. I just like to rest that on top if I'm worried. Sometimes I like to carry a scarf anyway. And there you go, it fits tons. Now I always get asked this question, let me just take all this off, whether it fits an iPad, and if it fit into the Birkin 25, I'm pretty sure it's going to fit. So this is the iPad 11-inch, that's not a problem, as you can see. Now, I've also been asked, does it fit a MacBook? My MacBook is a MacBook Pro 13-inch, and it actually has a cover on it. And it does fit, guys, but it is a squeeze. It would be better without a cover, but can you see it does fit, but it kind of sticks out the top just a touch. But it does fit in, and that's what you guys asked me to show. So that's not a problem, but obviously it makes the bag a lot heavier. And if you've got any sort of A4 papers or something, that's not a problem. You can just slot that in at the back as well. So as you can see, it does fit that. And I would feel a lot more comfortable. I would not be worried if I wanted to carry that, but probably not carry a 13-inch MacBook. So just wanted to show you that. Okay, and then finally, what fits into my Birkin 35 Sellier. Now, the Sellier actually, even though it looks slightly bigger than the Retourne, it actually fits slightly less because of its rigid structure. So let me just transfer everything from my B30 into here. Okay, so I've transferred everything from my B30 insert into my Birkin 35 Sellier insert, and obviously, as I would expect, the Birkin 35 Sellier is bigger and it can fit more. Now, this pocket is exactly what you would get if you were to order B35 insert. This is the most updated version, and as you can see, I've still got a couple of spare pockets. I could definitely add a lippy. Let me just pretend to add. If I had other things, I could add a lippy, you could add a pen. What else could I add? Okay, so just say I wanted to add a comb, and definitely, even though this is sunglasses in a soft case, this one you could absolutely add sunglasses in a hard case. You wouldn't need to go down into a soft case. And then of course it does fit a full-size wallet, though you would probably, you know what, you'll fit a full-size wallet there, and then you could probably even stand this up if you wanted to. And you could even put that. Okay, so basically the 35 fits heaps. Okay, so if I open my Birkin 35 up, Okay, this is really packed. I would not carry all this much, but just to let you know. So this one would absolutely fit a smaller size umbrella as well. Look at that fit, it's just so beautiful, it's perfect. So this one, as you can see, it's still got a lot of room in terms of height. So you could fit an umbrella in there for those of you that like to carry umbrellas. Let me just take the full-size wallet out because look, you don't need a full-size wallet and then your card case. You could absolutely fit a water bottle in there, not a problem as well. And because this is the Sellier construction, let me just take a few things out. You can fit an A4 folder in here like this, as you can see. If this was the Retourne construction, you would have even more room because, you know, with the Retourne, it's more relaxed, so it does wing out. But yes, a Sellier 35 does fit A4 size folder, and it absolutely does fit a 13-inch MacBook Pro as well, like that. So it fits snugly. I've tried this actually on a 35 and it has even more room. So, hold on, there you go guys. You can see that that is packed, there's even more room. So yeah, the 35 makes a great work bag and there's still room if you wanted to add more things. As I said, I'll put my water bottle in, I could put my scarf on the top, and yes, but of course, if you, the more you pack it, the heavier it gets, but people love this as a work bag. So that is what fits in the Birkin 35 Sellier. So here are some mod shots of me carrying the 25, 30 and the 35 Sellier. For reference, I am 164 centimeters tall. And as you can see, the 35 isn't massive on me, though of course the 25 and 30 probably suit my frame a little bit more. Next up is my husband, and he's carrying exactly the same sizes, 25, 30 and 35. I think for guys, definitely the 30 and 35 is better in terms of proportions. So, and even the 40 too. And then I've just got a side-by-side comparison here showing the 25 versus the 30, and then also the 30 versus the 35 Sellier. What do you guys think? Do you think the 35 Sellier is just gigantic? It's definitely big, but I kind of like that as well. And then here is just a quick picture of me carrying all three sizes just for your reference. And 25 is definitely super cute. I think 30 is the most universal and 35 is big, but I kind of like all three sizes. So now let's talk pricing. Now, the Sellier construction, as I mentioned in part 2 when I did the comparison, because it's got the stitching on the outside and you've got to be a lot more precise when you can see the visible stitching, the Sellier construction is always more expensive than the Retourne construction. So now let's go through the sizing and the pricing, and this will all be in USD as of October 2021. Usually Hermes has a price increase every year in January, and from the past few years, it can range anywhere from 6% to 10%, though the last couple of years it's been 10% on the smaller sizes, and on the bigger sizes, not quite 10%, maybe 5 or 6%. But anyway, for the Birkin 25, the exact one I have here in the Retourne, it is $9,750. If you wanted a Birkin Sellier in a 25, it costs $10,800. All the prices I'm quoting is before tax in USD. The Birkin 30 is a flat $11,000 in the Retourne construction, and in the Sellier, it's $12,400 USD. And then the Birkin 35 in this exact Sellier construction, so say in Epsom leather, so not this special tricolor because this was more expensive, but pretend it's a plain Epsom Sellier, it would cost 13,000 USD, and if it was the Retourne construction, it would cost 12,300 USD. So approximately across the board, you will find that the Sellier construction is about $1,000 more. Because as I said, it does take the artisans longer to make. So in summary, let's go over my final thoughts and just summarize the pros and cons of each bag. So the pros of the Birkin 25, I have to say this is probably the most desired size at the moment, especially with the mini bags. Everyone loves mini bags. I would say the past 4 years it's been so popular. So this probably is the hardest size to get. But the pro is that even though it is a smaller bag, it fits, as you saw in the what fits inside, a decent amount for such a small bag. And also a pro is because it's smaller, it's definitely lighter. The size wise, it transitions from day to night very well. It can be used on formal occasions without looking misplaced. Also, because it's smaller and it uses less leather, the price, if that is a factor for you, a pro is that it is a little bit cheaper as well. And if you do live in a crowded place, because it is a smaller bag, you probably won't tend to bump into people or things as much because it is much smaller. And personally for me, a pro is that I can fit this in my lap. If I'm at dinner or something and I don't have an extra chair, I always like to have an extra chair for my bags, but it does fit comfortably in your lap if you don't have extra space. So those are the main pros. Oh, also, if you tend to be petite, I find that this size definitely suits people that are more petite. But in saying that, I have seen taller girls absolutely rock this bag. Now, the major con of the Birkin 25 is the handles. As you can see, the handles are definitely a lot shorter in height than the 30 and 35. And for that reason, you cannot carry this bag at the crook of your arm. Now, for me, I have quite a small wrist and I probably can get it, up to here, like this part, but I can't say that's comfortable. I have worn it like this before, like mid forearm here, like this. I wear that and that's fine. But I also really kind of carry it as a top handle bag. And because it's so light and everything, that's how I prefer to carry it. But especially for those of you that like to carry it at the crook of your arm, yeah, you can't do it with this bag. And also in winter, it is a little bit of a pain because even though it fits through my arm, if I'm wearing thicker jackets and everything, it is a bit cumbersome to get through my wrist in and out of. So that's the con of this bag. So the pros of the Birkin 30, obviously it holds more than the Birkin 25. And a definite pro of this bag is I feel like the 30 is flattering on any sort of height and shape. In my opinion, yeah, it's sort of like the most universal size. Like it's not too big, but not too small. It's kind of like the Goldilocks, I guess, of the three. And I find that just, yeah, guys and girls can rock this size and it doesn't overwhelm petite frames, and on taller frames, it looks just as good. Also, of course, this bag, a major pro is that you can wear it at the crook of your arm very comfortably as well. Now, the cons of this bag is that, especially if you get it in a more heavier leather, for example, Clemence, it can get a little bit heavy for some people. I don't find the Togo heavy in the Birkin 30. You can obviously go the Epsom, which will be lighter again, but for some people where weight is an issue, of course the 30 is going to be heavier. Other than that, I actually don't see much other cons of this bag. I think it's great. Obviously, it can't transition as well as the 25 from day to night, but I have still rocked my Birkin 30 for events and I find that it's fine, but probably not something that, I would wear to like a cocktail event or something like that. So that's the only little cons. Okay, so for the 35, what are the pros? The pros is definitely it fits a lot more. As you saw in what fits in, it fits a 13-inch MacBook comfortably. So I think the 35 is a great work bag. It's also great for travel because it is more roomier, especially in the Retourne construction. For work, the Sellier is great. Actually, both constructions work for work more. So if you're a person that likes to carry a lot, this would be great for you. Also, the Birkin 35 is the original sized Birkin. So when Jean-Louis Dumas created the Birkin bag for Jane Birkin, her first Birkin, fun little fact, was in fact a Birkin 35. It wasn't in the Sellier construction, but it was in the Retourne construction in box calf leather. And I thought this was very interesting to show you, but I'm just going to put a picture here. Did you know her one, the 35, was extra special because it actually came with a shoulder strap? That was the only one that did. So her very first, the original first Birkin was a 35, and that's why it still remains a very classic size since it was the first ever size. So I think that's kind of a pro. And then obviously cons of this bag, it is heavy. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely a heavier bag. It's not too bad in Epsom, in my opinion, but I definitely can imagine, especially in the Clemence or heavier type of bull calf Tyrolean leather bags, your arm will get a workout. It will be a very heavy bag. So just bear that in mind. And obviously, as it's bigger, it's a little bit more expensive if price is a factor for you. But honestly, for me, I still like a Birkin 35 in my collection. Obviously, I have one, but I would love to add a 35 in a Retourne. I don't know, something about how Jane Birkin, the original Birkin, it was that construction and leather. I would love to. But if you ask me the question, Mel, which is your favorite size? You know I own two 25s, two 30s. Which would you pick? If you are only planning to buy one Birkin and that's it, my recommendation is to go for the 30 because it is a bit more user friendly in that you can carry it at the crook of your arm, and it is a great everyday bag. It's not too big, it's not too small, and I just think it's probably the most classic size. At the moment, however, for me, I think that I prefer the 25 just by a little touch because it fits a lot actually for a mini bag, and I just think it is so super adorable. However, that is just my personal opinion. All this video, it's supposed to be a reference video so that you can see definitely what each looks like. You've seen mod shots on me, you've seen mod shots on my husband, so different varying heights. You also know what fits inside each bag. So you really need to pick the bag that, as I said, suits your lifestyle. I would add more 30s, I would add more 25s, and even again, I would still love to add more 35s as well. But always pick what you love. Always pick something, not just because it's trendy, because like say this is the most coveted size. Pick the one that makes your heart happy. That's what I say. So guys, that is it for this video. Give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this in-depth comparison and review. I always like to have a variety of sizes and materials because there are, advantages and disadvantages, obviously, of each size, of all the leathers, and even construction. And don't forget, guys, if you were after an organizer or an insert for your bag, use my code MIM40 to save 40 euros off one, or MIM85 to save 85 euros off two. And I am the only one that has the code that's available for the Anemone, which, as you know, there's only 20 pieces available that they have enough fabric to make the insert of. And the Anemone, what can I say? It's one of my favorite colors as well. So I will leave all my code down below. Don't miss out on that offer because yeah, Anemone doesn't always come round. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below, what's your favorite size? The 25, the 30, or the 35? Thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful day or night, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye, guys.